Hello, I'm Ann White, the program director for Heartland Theater's senior acting troupe, Young at Heartland. In 2019, we celebrated 16 years of taking our show on the road to bring live theater to senior living centers and other senior groups in central Illinois. The COVID-19 pandemic brought our workshops and our on-the-road performances to a halt. This spring, we have embraced technology and created our first virtual performance. Our program today is a senior-style show and tell. Members have selected a variety of pieces that are of interest to them. It is our hope that as we weave these pieces together, they provide glimpses into the rich fabric of what it means to be human. We are Young at Heartland. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ear. Oh, that's not what I meant to say. Oh, I know. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father. No, that is not what I meant to say either. Now I've got it. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players in it. We're just a bunch of seniors who find acting sheer delight. We're here to entertain you and to make your day more bright. We're not sophisticated, and at times we miss our cue, but we hope you will bear with us so we don't become unglued. So thank you, thank you, thank you for inviting us today. Your presence is a blessing. Let's now begin to play.
Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss.
Congratulations.
Today is your day.
You're off to great places.
You're off and away.
You have brains in your head.
You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose.
You're on your own. You know what you know. And you are the guy who'll decide where to go.
You'll look up and down streets.
Look them over with care.
About some, you will say.
I don't choose to go there.
With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street.
And you may not find
Annie.
you'll want to go down.
In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town.
It's opener there in the wide open air.
Out there, things can happen
And frequently do.
to people as brainy and footsie as you.
And when things start to happen, don't worry.
Don't stew.
Just go right along. You'll start happening too.
Oh,
Oh,
The places you'll go.
You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights.
You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights.
You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed.
You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead.
Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best.
Wherever you go, you will top all the rest.
Except when you
Don't.
because sometimes you
Won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true. but bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you.
You can get all hung up in a prickly perch and your gang will go on and you'll be left in a lurch.
You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump. And the chances are then that you'll be in a slump.
And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done.
You will come to a place where the streets are not marked.
Some windows are lighted.
But mostly they're dark.
A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin.
Do you dare to stay out?
Do you dare to go in?
How much can you lose?
How much can you win?
And if you go in, should you turn left or right, or right and 3/4, or maybe not quite?
Or go around back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not. I'm afraid you will find for a mind maker upper to make up his mind.
You can get so confused that you'll start in to race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, toward a most useless place.
The waiting place.
The waiting place.
The waiting place.
For people just waiting.
Waiting for a train to go.
Or a bus to come, or a plane to go.
Or the mail to come, or the rain to go?
Or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow.
Or waiting around for a yes or a no.
Or waiting for their hair to grow.
Everyone is just waiting.
Waiting for the fish to bite.
Waiting for wind to fly a kite.
Or waiting around for Friday night.
Or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake.
Or a pot to boil. Or a better break.
Or a string of pearls. Or a pair of pants.
Or a wig with curls, or another chance.
Everyone is just waiting.
No.
That's not for you.
Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying.
You'll find the bright places where boom bands are playing.
With banner flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high. Ready for anything under the sky. Ready because you're that kind of a guy.
Oh, the places you'll go. There's fun to be done.
There are points to be scored.
There are games to be won.
And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all.
Fame.
You'll be famous as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you win on TV.
Except when they don't.
Because sometimes they won't.
I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too.
Games you can't win because you'll play against you.
All alone.
All alone.
All alone.
Whether you like it or not, alone will be something you'll be quite a lot.
And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants.
There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on.
But on you will go, though the weather be foul.
On you will go, though your enemies prowl.
On you will go, the hack and cracks howl.
Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak.
On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far and face up to your problems, whatever they are.
You'll get mixed up, of course, as you well know.
You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go.
So be sure when you step.
Step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act.
Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left.
And will you succeed?
Yes, you will indeed.
98 3/4%.
Guaranteed.
Kid,
Kid.
You'll move mountains.
So
be your name Buxbaum or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Valley Van Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places.
Today is your day.
Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way.
Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
That's my last Duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder. Now, Fra Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Will it please you sit and look at her? I said Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance. But to myself they turned, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. So not the first are you to turn and ask thus. So 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess' cheek. Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle laps o'er my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whatever she looked on, and she looked everywhere. 'Twas all one. My favor at her breast, the dying of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherries some officious fool broke for her in the orchard, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her the approving glance or speech. She thanked men good, but thanked them somehow as if my gift of a 500 years old name ranked with anybody's gift. Who'd stoop to blame this sort of trifling, and had you skill in speech, which I have not, and made your will quite clear to such a one, and say, just this or that in you disgusts me, or here you miss, or there exceed the mark, and she let herself be lessened so, nor set her wit against yours, forsooth, and made excuse even then, would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Oh, she smiled, no doubt, whenever I passed her, but who smiled without much the same smile? Screw gave commands, and then all smiles stopped together. And then there she stands, as if it alive. Oh, will it please you rise then? We'll meet the company below then. I repeat, the Count, your master's known munificence is ample warrant that no just pretense of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice, Neptune, though, taming a seahorse, thought a rarity, which Klaus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me.
Hi. It's just a mask, right? Well, you wouldn't think so with all the hullabaloo it's provoked. It's downright ludicrous, isn't it? Just all the instructions about what's affected blow your mind. So many different official advisors. Who are the experts, really? Is it the governor, the mayor, or do we really play it smart and check the World Health Organization? Wait, that doesn't work, does it? So where do you turn? Ask any of your friends and relatives and you get mixed opinions. Just the question of whether there's something to worry about. Some are in terror and won't leave the house. And then another family says, if I know them, they're okay and I don't have to worry. It was not my idea to wait for them to get sick, but it was kind of inevitable when several of them did. I don't think it changed their minds, though. Unbelievable. And then there are the politics of the anti-maskers citing constitutional rights, or he isn't wearing a mask, so why should I? Or why isn't he wearing a mask? But why not do it anyway? It may protect us and the people we come in contact with. If some of the negatives are coping with not being able to hear because we can't read lips, or not being able to see because our glasses seam up. And oh yes, we can't breathe. The price we pay, I guess. All in all, it's been a learning experience and one none of us would have chosen to have. But here we are, making do by using this as a fashion statement.
Hi, sis. How you doing? Hey, I have the speaker on so we can hear each other better. Now, I have a question for you. Do you remember the doll that I have had in my guest bed for years?
Doll? What doll? Why do you have a doll sitting on a bed?
Well, it's for decoration. It's a family heirloom. I'm not going to have it sitting in the closet forever. Anyway, do you know what doll I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, yes, you do. It's a family heirloom that has been passed down from. Wait, who did it come from?
I still don't know what doll you're talking about.
Well, it has a china head with yellow hair, blue eyes, and a tiny chip on the tip of its nose.
Oh, yes, I think I do remember. It got that chip when you dropped it.
Well, it wasn't my fault. You weren't even there. Anyway, do you remember it?
I do. I thought it had green eyes, though.
No, its eyes are blue. I mean, I should know.
Is it still wearing the dress that Mom made for it?
Oh, yes, it does still have the dress Mom made for it, but wasn't the material special for some reason?
Yes.
Oh, it was material from great grandma, wasn't it?
That's what it was. Is that who gave us the doll then, too?
No, I don't think great grandma was the person who gave it to us, though.
Well, I don't know who could have been then.
Yeah, neither do I. Darn.
Is that why you called? To find out where that doll came from?
No, that's not what I meant to ask. It was, well, it was nuts. I can't even think what I meant to ask. Well, my goodness, but at least you know what doll I mean when I call you back to ask you the original question I had meant to ask.
Well, don't you see, this was the way of it. We bought the farm with what he inherited, and his brothers and sisters accused him of poisoning his father against them. And we had no pleasure with our treasure. The murrain took the cattle, the crops failed, and lightning struck the granary. So we mortgaged the farm to keep going. And he grew silent and worried all the time. Then some of the neighbors refused to speak to us and took sides with his brothers and sisters. And I had no place to turn. As one might say in an earlier time in life, no matter, so-and-so is my friend, I can shake this off with a little trip to Decatur. Then the dreadfulest smells infested the rooms. So I set fire to the beds, and that old witch house went up with a roar of flame as I danced in the yard, waving my arms. And he wept like a freezing steer.
When I die, I want to be burned in the fires of a crematorium, but I don't want my ashes kept standing useless in an urn. And I don't want to be scattered by the four far winds to the corners of the earth either, just to end up as dust on somebody's windowsill. No, I want to be cooked up so hot my ashes turn. They crystallize. When I die, I want to be a diamond. But not just a ring finger diamond to be banged about in dirty water while Janie does the dishes. No, I want to be worn around her neck on a chain so fine it's just about invisible. So I shimmer and shine every time she says a word. So she remembers me every time she breathes. Like I used to be. But I don't just want to be a diamond. I want to be a pencil too. Diamonds, graphite, they both come from carbon. Graphite is an excellent conductor of electricity. It's expensive, I know, but I've got just enough saved to make it happen. So there you go. A diamond it is. A diamond for Janie, and there should be just enough of me left over for a pencil after the diamond's done. A pencil for writing Jimmy to write his words down with. So many words he'll write with the graphite pencil that is me, they'll add up to a book. He'll write and write until there is no more left of me but the book and a pencil stub, so he could put away in one of his little aluminum fly fishing boxes, stick it in a drawer and keep it for his kids when he has them, if he has them, so that his kids, my grandkids, Lord knows if I'm going to live to see him right, he's going, so that my kids can sharpen the stub and draw stick figures and cartoons in the margins of their books with me. Ask me, being made into a pencil is better than going to heaven. It's immortality.
Jewish Wife by Bertolt Brecht. Judith rehearses telling her husband why she is leaving him. This is during the early years of the Holocaust. And he returns at the end of her speech. Yes, I'm packing. You mustn't act as if you hadn't noticed in the last few days. Fritz, everything is tolerable except one thing, that we're not looking each other in the eyes during this last hour that remains to us. That they shall not achieve. The liars who said everyone lying. Then years ago, when somebody thought no one could tell that I was Jewish, you quickly said, oh yes, they can tell. And I liked that. It was clear-headed. Why evade the issue now? I'm packing because otherwise they'll take away your position as chief surgeon at the clinic. And because they already insulted you there to your face. And because already you can't sleep at night. I don't want you to tell me not to go. I'm going in a hurry because I don't want you to have to tell me I should go. It's a question of time. Character is a question of time. It lasts for a certain length of time, just like a glove. There are good ones that last a long time, but they don't last forever. Incidentally, I'm not angry. No, I'm not angry, and yet I am. Why should I always be so understanding? What's wrong with the shape of my nose and the color of my hair? They want me to leave the town where I was born so they won't have to provide for me? What kind of men are you all? What kind of man are you? You people discover the quantum theory and let yourselves boss by half savages who have to conquer the world for them, but you're not allowed to have the wife you want. Artificial respiration, you invented it. Yet you're monsters. Or the bootlickers of monsters.
Amongst the Native American Indians, storytelling was important for continuing the culture of their society. Here is one such story. How Coyote Was the Moon, a Native American story. You know, a long time ago, there was no moon. People got tired of going around in the dark. There'd been a moon before, but somebody stole it. So they gathered together and they talked about it. Oh, we need to have a moon, they said. Who will be the moon? I will do it, said Yellow Fox. Well, they placed him in the sky, but he shone so brightly that he made things hot at night. Thus, they had to take him down. Then the people went to Coyote. Would you like to be the moon? Do you think you could do better? I sure would, Coyote said. Then he smiled. He knew that if he became the moon, he could look down and see everything that was happening on Earth. So they placed Coyote up in the sky. He did not make the nights too hot and bright. And for the time, oh, the people were pleased. Yeah, Coyote's doing a good job as the moon, they agreed. But up there in the sky, he could see everything that was happening on Earth. He could see whenever someone did something they were not supposed to do. He just couldn't keep quiet. Hey, he would shout so loudly, everyone on Earth could hear him. That man is stealing meat from the drying racks. He would look down over people's shoulders as they played games in the moonlight, and he would shout, hey, that person is cheating at the moccasin game. Well, finally, at last, all the people who wished to do things in secret, they got together. Take Coyote out of the sky, they said. He's making too much noise with all his shouting. So Coyote was taken out of the sky. Someone else became the moon. Coyote could no longer see what everyone on Earth was doing. That hasn't stopped him from still trying to snoop into everyone else's business ever since.
I was so excited when I heard the news.
I was too. To be honest, I couldn't believe my good luck.
It was completely unexpected. I was shocked, but ever so happy.
I mean, really, what are the odds?
Here I was selling my house, cleaning it, putting down new carpet, sprucing it up.
And I was deciding I needed a smaller house, getting an agent, looking for homes.
And then one day you showed up at my house.
And bought it?
Yes, it's amazing. We needed to talk more. If I had known you were looking, we could have saved a fortune on realtor fees.
I mean, I had been to your house, told you I loved it. I can't believe I actually bought it.
And we close in 3 weeks. I'll be done moving out in a week, and then I'll clean it up spick and span for you.
Don't worry about the cleaning too much. I'll be coming in and painting things before moving in.
Painting? You never mentioned you'd be painting.
Heavens, yes. That's the first thing you do before moving in. Give it all a fresh coat of paint.
But Bob picked out the color, or the kids helped him paint it.
It's just paint, dear. It's the memory that's important. I'll go in and take pictures beforehand if you wish.
No, that's fine. It's just that Bob and the kids picked out the colors.
I can tell. Whose room was the mac and cheese orange one?
That was Emily's. For her 14th birthday, we told her she could paint her room any color she wanted. And that was the color she picked.
That room might require a few coats. It'll be my study. The purple room may be my guest room once I paint it too.
That was Bryce's room. He chose that color during his goth period, which thankfully didn't last all that long. But we told him if he wanted a different color, he'd have to paint it himself. He didn't. So we were stuck with that color for years. I'll be happy to leave that problem to you.
Then there's the landscaping to be done too. I've already talked to Thompsons and Sons about it.
What do you think they'll do?
For starters, I know they'll cut down all the hydrangeas. They're so messy and high maintenance.
I planted all those hydrangeas 20 years ago because Bob loved hydrangeas.
Oh, I didn't know that. How about that cherry tree in the middle of the yard? I've never known it to produce anything, has it? Thompson said they could dig it out too.
That was Bob's gift to me when I got my master's degree. It never bore fruit, but it always meant a lot to me.
Martha, I can't do it. I can't destroy all these wonderful memories you made with your family.
Oh, don't be silly, Jen. I have an abundance of memories. Well, some sad, of course, but mostly happy and, well, memories. You take them with you.
But your house, the colors, the plants, surely those are important to preserve.
Jen, you're getting ready to move too, right? Are you going to miss your old place?
Of course I am. I put a lot of time into fixing that place up.
I'm going to miss my home as well. I mean, yes, there are memories, but part of life is knowing when to move on. I'll take my things, what I don't give away, but the important parts will stay with me.
I guess you're right. Stuff is just stuff. But memories, well, they're part of us forever. Nothing will take these memories from me.
That doesn't mean it's not one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I'm trusting you with my home.
Thank you. I'll take good care of it, I promise.
I know you will, and I thank you for that. I just hope I can come visit sometimes.
Of course you can, anytime. And you know how to find it.
And if you want, I'll even help you paint that purple room together.
The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss.
Now the star belly sneetches
Had bellies with stars.
The plain belly sneetches had none upon theirs.
Those stars weren't so big.
They were really so small.
You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all.
But because they had stars, all the star belly sneetches would brag.
We're the best kind of sneetches on the beaches.
With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort.
Will have nothing to do with the plain belly sort.
And whenever they met someone they were out walking,
They'd hike right on past them without even talking.
when the Starbelly children went out to play ball.
Could a plain belly get in the game?
No, not at all.
You could only play if your bellies had stars.
And the plain belly children had none upon theirs.
When the star belly sneetches had frankfurter roasts,
Or picnics,
Or parties?
or marshmallow toasts,
They never invited the plain belly sneetches
they left them out cold
in the dark.
of the beaches.
They kept them away.
Never let them come near.
And that's how they treated them year after year.
Then one day it seemed, while the plain belly sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars.
We're friends.
He announced in a voice clear and keen.
My name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean. And I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappy. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed. And my work is 100% guaranteed.
Then quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine.
And he said,
You want stars like a starbelly sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay your money and hop right aboard.
So they clambered inside.
Then the big machine roared.
And it swung.
And it jerked.
And it worked. And it knocked them about. The thing really worked.
When the plain belly sneetches popped out, they had stars.
They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start.
Yay!
We're exactly like you.
You can't tell us apart.
We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties.
Good grief.
Good grief, groaned the ones who had stars at the first.
We're still the best sneetches, and they are the worst.
But now, how in the world will we know?
They all frowned.
If which kind is what? Or the other way around?
Then up came McBean with a very sly wink.
And he said,
Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That is perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best sneetches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 each. Belly stars are no longer in style.
said McBean.
What you need is a trip through my star off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars so you won't look like sneetches who have them on bars.
And that handy machine
Working very precisely.
removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely.
Then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout.
We know who is who.
Now there isn't a doubt.
The best kind of sneetches are sneetches without.
And of course,
Those with stars all got frightfully mad. Woo!
To be wearing a star was frightfully bad.
then of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star off machine.
Then,
Of course.
From then on, as you probably guess,
Things really got into a horrible mess.
All the rest of that day on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappy kept fixing up sneetches.
off again.
On again.
In again.
Out again.
through the machines they raced in, around, and about again.
Changing their stars every minute or two, they kept paying their money.
They kept running through until neither the plane nor the starbellies knew.
Whether this one was that one,
Or that one was this one. Or which one was what one?
Or what one was who?
Then, when every last cent of their money was spent,
the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach.
They never will learn. No, you can't teach a sneetch.
But McBean was quite wrong.
I'm happy to say that the sneetches got really quite smart on that day.
The day they decided that sneetches were sneetches.
Yes!
And no kind of sneetch is the best on the beaches.
That day, all of the sneetches forgot about stars and whether they had one or
Or not.
Up on stars.